Stuck in the traffic, Jungkook was losing his patience now. When he couldn't take it anymore, he got out of the car angrily and decided to handle this himself. As he stepped out of his car, coming closer and closer to the scene, which was the root of the traffic, he saw it finally. A group of boys were laughing with each other, standing around a girl who was on the ground, getting taunted and beaten by them mercilessly. Jungkook looked at the girl who was being abused, and she was in such a miserable situation, shaking from the fear and asking for help while looking downwards so he couldn't see her face. He was amused that the whole traffic is stuck watching them, but no one is coming out to help her. But he has seen this too many times to realize this is how the world is. He didn't care about the girl or any other person. He just wanted to get out of here by freeing the traffic, so he went closer to them. What the hell are you guys doing in the middle of the road? Don't you have any other businesses to handle? Jungkook's loud growl echoed in the group of boys' ears, and especially one, who immediately looked up at him, hoping that someone had come to help her. Jungkook, just take this somewhere else when I'm asking nicely, okay? Vine, please help me. Her trembling voice, which was barely a whisper, was heard by Jungkook, and he looked at her. Jungkook's gaze locked onto Vine's terrified eyes, and for some seconds he couldn't stop looking in that pair. They were the most beautiful eyes he had ever seen, but there was fear mixed in them that he didn't like. It would be perfect if he could just look in them, get lost in them forever without them having fear inside them. He didn't want to look anywhere else. He was enjoying the moment so much, but one of the boys from the group came to him and pushed him away, distracting him from looking at her, which infuriated him a lot. Just go your own way. We will go when we are done, the boy said with so much confidence, and Jungkook knew where it was coming from. Jungkook didn't care about them. He just wanted to take the fear out of that pair of eyes. He went to her and squatted down on the ground beside her as he offered her a hand. Jungkook, do you want to come with me? He doesn't remember when he talked so softly to someone in his life, but he was doing it now for her. Vine immediately held his hand and nodded in desperation. Yes, please. Her pleading eyes made him want to help her, even at the cost of his life. He was relieved when she held his hand and made her stand immediately, but she couldn't stand straight and fell in his embrace. Jungkook caught her immediately. She tried to stand straight as she said, I'm sorry. But Jungkook hugged her, signaling her to stay right here in his embrace. Boy, you're not going to listen to us the easy way, right? He said and came towards Jungkook and Vine, with an iron rod in his hand. But Jungkook had another weapon, a gun, from which he immediately killed the boy coming towards them. His companions were shocked to see that boy die. They wanted to get back at Jungkook so badly, but he had a gun, so they didn't dare. Jungkook, I will give you all 5 seconds to run out of my sight. If I see you after 5 seconds, you are all dead. Jungkook even started counting to scare them, and they ran away immediately for their life. Jungkook looked at his secretary who was standing behind them and said to him, clean this up, and make sure no one made a video. Jungkook then looked at Vine, but she was more terrified than earlier after hearing the gunshot. He looked at her and tightened his grip to make her comfortable and realized that it's okay now. He took her to his car and made her sit on the passenger seat beside him. He sat on the driver's seat and asked her, Jungkook, where is your house? I will drop you there. But she didn't say anything, just shook her head immediately. Jungkook, you you don't have a home? Jungkook asked hesitatingly. Vine shook her head again. I don't want to go home. Please don't take me there. I finally managed to escape. Vine trembled when she heard about her home. He could understand. Home is not always a safe place for everyone. He had been through it and he knows it well. But for the first time in his life, he wanted to protect someone without an ulterior motive. So he decided to take her to his mansion for now. Jungkook's mansion was a grand, luxurious building with high walls and tight security. Jungkook, let's go inside. Vine's eyes widened when he looked at her surroundings. Vine, here? Why? Jungkook, because it's my house, obviously. Vine, you live here? In such a big house? You must have a big family living with you. Jungkook smiled and led Vine inside, where she looked around. She was in shock to see such a massive and beautiful place. She liked it so much that she couldn't stop smiling. Jungkook looked at her, and this was what he was waiting for. That beautiful pair of eyes, without any fear in them. Just happiness. He wanted to keep her happy forever. You can stay here for as long as you need, he said, even when this wasn't any of his plans. Vine didn't want to, but she nodded. She didn't have anywhere else to go. Jungkook showed her a cozy room with a comfortable bed. Stay here, I will be right up there, he said, pointing towards his bedroom, which was upstairs. Vine nodded, still shaken but grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jungkook smiled and went to the cupboard in his living room. Taking a new phone out of his drawer, he went back to her and handed it to her. Jungkook, I saved my number here. If you need anything, just call. My secretary will bring it to you. Jungkook, and don't use your old phone. They might come for you if you use it. Vine immediately handed her old phone to Jungkook, and thanking him once again, she went inside the room. Jungkook looked at the door being closed, and he finally came into senses. What was he doing this whole time, and why? He started asking to himself. He went to his bedroom, and sitting on the bed, he reflected upon what he did just now. He couldn't find one reason behind it, but he still wanted to keep doing it. He just couldn't understand. He couldn't sleep with all those thoughts running inside his mind. So he got up, deciding not to waste his time and get some office work done. After 2 or some hours, he was really thirsty and wanted to grab some water, so he went outside his room. He saw Vine already sitting on the couch downstairs, with her legs hugging her chest, with no emotions visible in her eyes. She was just staring at the floor without realizing. He went downstairs and as she noticed him, she immediately sat straight, and Jungkook asked her while going towards the fridge, "Why are you still up?" he said, and sat beside her, offering her a can of beer with one in his hand. Wine. I'm not habitual of sleeping here, so I decided to take a look around when I couldn't sleep and ended up sitting here. He could see Wine was comfortable, sitting here in his mansion. She was feeling safe for the first time in years. As they sat there, silently, drinking the beer, Jungkook decided to ask her now that she is comfortable here. What's your name? I'm Wine. And you're Jungkook, right? Wine asked. Jungkook. How do you know? Wine. Just heard one of your servants talking about you. Jungkook nodded. Oh, they were gossiping behind my back? Wine smiled. They did say that you were a tight freak and don't listen to anyone when you lose your temper. She laughed. Looking at her, he laughed too. If he heard about that from anyone else, he wouldn't be able to smile, let alone laugh. But he just shrugged it off when she laughed. It was the most beautiful melody he heard ever. Jungkook. Fine, can I ask you something? Of course, she replied, looking up at him with those beautiful eyes. Why did you escape from your home? Jungkook asked gently. Vine's eyes dropped. She looked at the floor for a few seconds, but she knew she could trust him after all this. She whispered, My stepfather. He was hurting me. I couldn't take it anymore. Jungkook's expression darkened, and he took her hand. I'm so sorry, Vine. No one deserves to be hurt like that, especially you from now on. Vine. Why me specially? Jungkook. Because you have me now, he said softly, looking in that pair of eyes again and getting lost in the moment. Jungkook. No one gets to hurt you from now on. I will protect you. Vine looked back at him, their eyes locked intensely, the connection between them forming a new shape. They kept looking deeper and deeper and found the utmost peace. Vine. Jungkook, can I ask you something now? Her voice made him come to his senses. Anything, he replied. Vine. Why are you being so kind to me? You don't even know me. Jungkook's expression softened, and he took her hand. I know enough, Vine. I know you're strong, brave, and beautiful. And I want to help you, to protect you, because because I care about you. Vine's eyes flickered, and she looked at him with a newfound appreciation. I care about you too. As the silence between them grew, Jungkook leaned in, his lips brushing against Vine's in a gentle kiss. It was a moment of pure connection, of understanding, and of love. She didn't push him back, she just trusted him. Or maybe she wanted the same as well. She didn't know the reason, she just didn't push him back. From that moment on, Vine and Jungkook were inseparable, their love growing stronger with each passing day. Jungkook checked on her regularly, bringing her food and drinks. It began to talk more. Vine learned about his life as a mafia leader, and Jungkook learned about her escape from an abusive home. They faced challenges, of course, but together they knew they could overcome anything.